Chapter 2. My mother raced us to the downtown hospital. Two men in suits met us in the lobby. They pulled my mother aside to speak with her. I stood about 15 feet away, trying to focus on the words coming from the man's mouth. After only a few seconds of conversation, my mother grabbed the man in the suit, hugging him. The man looked startled. He slowly raised his left hand to rub my mother's back. While rubbing her back, he glanced over toward me. A concerned expression formed on his face. My face felt hot. Sweat built up on my forehead. The sound of footsteps caught my attention. I jumped back and hit the wall as I felt a hand touch my shoulder. "Hello, son." "Son?" I mumbled. In front of me stood the other man in the suit. He kneeled down, reaching his hand out to me. "Everything is going to be okay, son."
"Son?"
I again said, this time louder.
"You are not my dad. Do not call me son."
The man stood up, looking confused.
"I want my daddy. I want to see him now."
My mother ran over, grabbing me. She rubbed the back of my head.
"Shh, it's going to be okay, my beautiful baby."
She whispered into my ear.
"We will go to Daddy now."
The man in the suit who spoke with my mother cleared his throat and stepped toward us. "Maybe that isn't such a good idea right now, Mrs. McDonald. It might be better if it's just you." My mother stomped her right foot. The sandals she wore flew right off.
"My baby wants to see his daddy, and darn it, he's going to see him."
The two men in suits looked at each other and nodded. The one who spoke to my mother waved for us to follow him. "Okay, sure. This way." Now, personally, I don't want to write what happened next. I don't want to relive the memory of seeing my dad and exactly how it went. The shock it put myself and my mother in was enough for a lifetime. So I'll skip that part. But before I truly move on, there is a memory that still sticks with me. After my mother and I left the room where they kept my father, my mother went with the two men in suits to talk with them more. Now, for myself, I wanted to be left alone. I didn't want anyone to talk with me. So my mother told me it was okay to head to the hospital's cafe to grab some food or a drink. Of course, I wasn't hungry or thirsty at all, but it beat standing around, watching my mother speak to those two men. I went to the cafe, but I didn't stay long because the smell of food almost made me vomit. I walked out in the main lobby to a beautiful and calming sound that entered my ears. Piano? My thought was exactly right. In the middle of the main lobby sat a player piano. No person sat in front of it, yet the piano played. Even though I felt lost and out of it, the music soothed me. Planted around the player piano were a bunch of comfy-looking chairs and one long couch. The seating area was empty, so I sat down on the couch right in the middle. The piano played its music and I sat, crunched over, rubbing my palms together. Tears filled my eyes. My vision of the piano faded. Quickly I wiped my eyes. The piano looked clear once more. Just as I wiped the tears from my eyes, I felt the couch dip down.
"Hello. You don't mind if I sit here with you, do you?"
An older teen, maybe 16, sat down next to me. I glanced around at all the empty chairs and back down on the couch I sat on.
Sure. You can sit, I guess."
Personally, I didn't want anyone to sit by me, and especially so close, when there were empty chairs all around.
"Thank you, little buddy,"
the older teen said. He raised his right hand out to me.
"My name is DeAndre. It's nice to meet you."
I mumbled, and reluctantly met his hand with my hand.
"My name is Andy."
We shook, and the teenager shot me a smile, making me feel uncomfortable.
"Thank you for letting me sit with you. DeAndre said. Oh, it's no problem. Really, I was just leaving.
Oh. The teenager frowned.
Okay, well, it was nice meeting you.
The look of sadness on his face knocked me back a step. I instantly became intrigued by DeAndre. I needed to know what made him sad.
I guess I could stay a little longer.
DeAndre smiled.
Can I ask you something?
DeAndre nodded.
Sure. Ask away.
I readjusted my position on the couch, staring deep into DeAndre's eyes.
Why do you seem sad?
DeAndre leaned back and smirked.
What I mean is, there seems to be something bothering you,
I said nervously.
Is everything okay with you?
DeAndre smiled once more.
I'm not sad at all, little man. In fact, I'm happy. Just a little nervous, that's all.
Nervous, I thought. What could make this teenager nervous? The piano ended one tune and started another. I recognized the next tune. It was Beethoven's Für Elise. My head swung over to the player piano. I watched as the keys pressed down magically by themselves.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
DeAndre asked. Huh? I swung back to DeAndre. He let out a small chuckle.
I mean, the piano. The songs it plays are beautiful.
Yeah, the songs are beautiful, I said, standing up. After making my way over to the piano, I stopped right at the ropes. The player piano sat inside a small roped barricade. DeAndre stood up and walked over to the piano. He now stood next to me.
These songs really relax you. Kind of makes you appreciate life, you dig?
At first, I nodded in agreement, but the thought of my father changed my mood.
Why should anyone appreciate life? It's just one big lie. It isn't fair. Forget it.
I threw my hands out in disgust and turned to walk away. As I almost passed DeAndre, he reached out and grabbed me on the arm. This shocked me. It sent a sense of fear down my spine. Yet his light brown eyes gave off a peaceful vibe.
You should appreciate life, because life isn't guaranteed,
DeAndre said. His statement angered me.
Why would you say that? You don't even know me or my situation.
Because I know so, DeAndre replied. My face turned bright red.
How do you know anything? Whatever you know won't bring my daddy back to life.
DeAndre looked toward the floor. He rubbed his hand through his hair.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea your father had passed.
DeAndre turned to walk away, still looking down. He took about 10 steps, almost reaching the information desk.
Hey, DeAndre!
He stopped and turned back to face me.
Sorry, you didn't know. I didn't mean to take it out on you.
DeAndre smiled.
Don't sweat it, kid.
Something on DeAndre caught my eye. He reached his arm out to stretch, and on his left bicep I noticed something that appeared to be a giant scar.
Hey, may I ask why you are here in the hospital?
DeAndre smiled and walked back over to me. A new tune came on the player piano. This I recognized from an old computer video game my dad had, Marvin Hamlish's The Entertainer.
So, you want to know why I'm in the hospital?
DeAndre asked. I nodded.
You also wanted to know why I seem nervous and why I think you should appreciate life. Is that right?
Again, I nodded.
Okay, here.
DeAndre pointed to the couch.
You want to sit back down?
For a third straight time, I nodded. We walked over and sat down on the couch. I glanced down at his left arm. He, in fact, had a giant scar, with what seemed to be tape still on it.
What happened to your arm?
DeAndre glanced down at his arm. He pulled his sleeve up, and I found his scar to be even more intense.
Ah, this little thing?
He rubbed over the scar.
Yeah, this here is my AV fistula.
This had me scratching my head.
AV fistula? What the heck is that?
DeAndre laughed.
The doctors had to make a blood vessel wider and stronger to handle the needles that allow blood to flow out and return from my dialysis machine. I sat quietly for a few seconds trying to figure out what this kid meant. Oh, what is a dialysis machine? Another chuckle left DeAndre's mouth. Well, little buddy, the machine helps remove the unwanted waste products from my blood. This dumbfounded me. Why would he need a machine to remove waste from his blood? Do I need a machine to remove the waste in my blood? Oh, jeez, should I be on one of these machines? DeAndre's laughing stopped. His eyes squinted. He reached out and gently grabbed my shoulder. Little man, I pray you never have to use this machine. I glanced over to the piano, feeling a little awkward by now. The reason I'm on the machine is that I have a renal disease, DeAndre said, lowering his head, also known as kidney failure. I gasped. Wow. The reason I'm nervous is that tomorrow morning at 6, I'll be going into surgery to receive my new kidney from a deceased donor. Well, that's great news. You shouldn't be nervous. You should be excited, I said. Well, I am happy, but I'm nervous because even though I went through the test to make sure the kidney is a match, and it is, still a lot can happen. DeAndre turned to the piano. He grabbed the rope, squeezing it tight. It's always risk going into surgery, and especially mine. I just want it to work and everything to go well. I now placed my hand on his shoulder. It will, my friend. It will. Shoot, I hope. I've been waiting for a kidney for nearly 5 years. Oh, darn. Yeah, and this isn't the first time a kidney came my way, DeAndre said. I've had 6 matches in the past, and all 6 ended up not working out, one way or another. A loud scream came from the area of the information desk and caught my attention. Andy! Oh, there you are, Andy! My mother ran straight toward me. Hey, it was nice meeting you, DeAndre, but I have to go. DeAndre smiled. No sweat, little man. Nice talking to you. My mother grabbed hold of me. Her eyes were red from the intense crying she was doing. I couldn't find you, baby. Here, come with me. The doctors have asked a question to me, and I want to get your thoughts. Sadness re-entered my psyche, remembering my reason for being at the hospital. Okay. I lowered my head and followed my mother, beyond confused now. Hey, little man, whatever may happen, stay strong and embrace life. I bet your dad would want that. DeAndre called out to me. I turned back toward DeAndre and smiled. Thank you, and good luck with your surgery. I know everything will be fine. My mother wrapped her arm around me, and we continued down the hallway. We walked into a small room with a large desk that took up almost the entire room. A man in a white overcoat sat behind the desk. Hello again, Mrs. McDonald. Hello. Andy, is it? I nodded my head and muttered, Yes. It's nice to meet you, Andy. My name is Dr. Yang. I didn't say a word, just nodded my head slightly. Ah, okay. Well, the reason I called you back here is because of the conversation your mother and I had. Glancing up at my mother, I asked, Mom, what is this all about? My mother still had tears in her eyes. She wiped them and walked over to me, placing her hands on my shoulders. Well, Andy, your father was listed as an organ donor, and Dr. Yang likes to get the blessings from the closest members of the remaining family. Blessings? I snapped, cutting my mother off. What type of blessing are we talking about? The doctor stood up from his chair. He walked to the front of his desk, sitting down on the edge. Andy, we have matched your father's kidneys with 2 different patients, and these patients have been waiting a long time. Dr. Yang held his hands together, interlocking his fingers. My eyes focused on his fingers as they bounced up and down, even though interlocked together. These patients are very sick, and honestly, they don't have much time left.
Dr. Yang explained.
Since your father has been identified as an organ donor, we want to donate both kidneys. But we like to get the okay from the immediate family.
I glanced at my mother. She shot me a small smile. Dr. Yang continued.
I talked to your mother about it, and she wanted to get your opinion on it, so here we are.
This certainly was some pressure to put on a 14-year-old boy. In a way, I didn't want them to transplant my father's kidneys. Heck, this was all fresh still. I didn't want to believe that my father was dead. The idea of taking organs from his body and giving them to someone else would make his death more real. I didn't like that.
Oh, no. No, come on, no, I said, backing up to the door of the office.
Grabbing the handle, I swung the door open. Just as I stepped out in the hallway, the teenager I met in the lobby, DeAndre, entered my mind. Slowly, I turned around. The doctor now stood in front of his desk. My mother stood, leaning against the wall, her eyes wet. Snot ran down from her nose.
Hey, Doc, I said, can you tell me the names of the people who will receive my father's kidneys?
Well, Andy, Dr. Yang walked back around his desk, sitting in his chair. I'm not at liberty to say the patients' names, just in case something falls through. A giant sigh exited my mouth.
Doc, please. Is one of the people named DeAndre? I met him in the lobby, and I want him to get a kidney. He deserves it.
Dr. Yang's eyes widened. He leaned over his desk, locking his eyes on mine. One of the recipient's names is, in fact, DeAndre.